Hi Dave, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey Gaurav, hi, good afternoon, good afternoon. I'm great. It's a bright sunny day outside today, so going great.
Yeah, I love these conversations on a Friday afternoon. I think the whole week has gone by, and we can spend some time to really strategically think about things that we are talking about. But welcome, Dave. Thank you for your time on the podcast of Joy of Performing. Today is a very close to my heart episode where we are talking about performance transformation and in the three spaces which are people, process, and purpose, right? And I think that's very meaningful in the world that we live in today and the business environment that we are in today. So tell me something, Dave. Maybe we can start with a little bit of an introduction from you. The audience would love that. And why did you choose to be a part of this topic? So let's start with that, please.
Right. So, see, for an HR, so I have been an HR professional for almost now 20 21 years. I started off as an HR professional, did my education in HR, then continued in it. So now I can say that I am kind of typecasted as an HR specialist and have been in this line. So as an HR, I always felt that because we used to get this question that why HR and all that, and I always had a very typical notion about it because see. Uh, Before coming to the performance part of it, as an HR as a role, I always felt that HR as a role is always transformative. Like if I am into recruitment process, we look at recruitment as a very mundane thing that you are recruiting somebody and you are onboarding somebody. But I look at recruitment as something that okay, I am actually transforming a person's life through that career decision. So, as a recruiter, back in the days when I used to do candidate calling and uh, used to talk about a job to a particular person. So it is the jobs the projection of the job or the projection of the role for me is basically based on what I'm projecting. He's going to he's going to make a decision of changing, which might alter his life in good bad ways. So it is also it's a way transforming a person's life. Later on, when I started conversing with people, when I started handling payrolls or handling grievances, I realized that if a person is coming aggrieved to me and spending half an hour, 45 minutes, 15 minutes with me, and then going out of it, then going out of that desk, he should be transformed in his mind that okay, his problem is getting resolved or he's getting a direction of resolution. So that is also another way of transformation. And then later stage when I became an HR business partner, I started talking, working with the business stakeholders, working with the senior management. I realized that the only thing which is in the mind of a senior management or a business or a business partner is transformation. They are looking forward to change from status A to status B, and it should be a needle swing. That okay, what is the plus that I'm getting from today? What is the plus that happening tomorrow? So this plus are important, and this pluses to me can happen only through transformation. It cannot be just a growth or just a acquisition or just a product addition in my portfolio. It has to happen through transformation. So for me, transformation is very important. I have realized it in my journey. I have realized from Kolkata to Hyderabad to Bangalore to Delhi, back to Kolkata, back to Delhi. So these transformations from typical BPO kind of an industry to BFSI to FMCG, these transformations, I've lived those personally, and I realized that transformation is important. So that is why the topic is quite close to my heart because I am looking at transformations. I'm trying to make certain changes, and that is a buzzword for the stakeholders also. That's how I relate, and it echoes with me.
Absolutely. Now, just taking a cue on that, right? I mean, I've been in the space of performance transformation now for almost a decade, and we run a business job, Joy of Performing, where we are responsible to do that for organizations, right? And when we look at performance transformation, we look in three pillars. At least we make sense of this in three pillars, right? Business transformation, or let's say, what are the business goals? How do you cascade those goals? How do you have people be aligned in an organization for those goals? And then the people transformation, which we say is continuous performance management, How do you go through that journey for people when they are in sync with those goals and their personal goals as well, right? How do you do those reviews, those one-on-one feedback, 360 feedback, and then the sales performance transformation, because sales is a driver of growth for any organization, and more so in the FMCG world. And we work with a lot of FMCG companies today. So let me ask you, as per you, do you also think from those three pillars, or there is another framework that you think of transformation when you are, looking at stakeholders or internally talking about it? Would just like to understand that space from you.
Correct. So transformation is something which definitely has the pillars that you said is rightly that transformation cannot happen in silo. It has to come from the organizational transformation, and it should have the right purpose of that organization transformation, and that purpose should be transported across the levels, that how that purpose is being translated in a task, how that task is translated in certain actions, and how those actions are measured in a limited time frame, in a specific time frame. So for me, that is the very important pillar, that is important framework, that it should have the purpose, it should have that purpose should get translated into actions and tasks, and how those tasks are measured in a limited time frame. So time frame, task and action, and the purpose, these are three things which are important. And I always feel the transformation should be very process centric transformation. It should be by people should get aligned to the processes. I should not be able to stick with a particular people, because then what happens is there is a concern with a particular person. So people are movable assets. They can move in multiple organizations. They can move from one place to another. My transformation journey cannot stick to a particular person. कि ये नहीं होगा तो ये transformation नहीं हो सकता है. So I want these transformations to happen, and we all want this transformation to happen through a proper process, through a proper vision, not driven by a particular person. So for me, the framework of transformation is purpose, action, tasks, measurability of that action task in a time frame, but driven under an umbrella of a process or a vision,
Mm.
not
Mm.
basically based on a particular person's transformation or a person's idea. That's how I would like to look at that framework.
And actually, that is very meaningfully said, right? Because unless the purpose is clear, I think there cannot be one direction for the whole organization to move in, and then be confused, or what is it that we want to really transform about, right? And extremely meaningful when you're talking about process, because you're right. If there is no process, there cannot be one common denominator that people can think at the common page and work with. So very useful. Now, tell me something. Is it a mindset thing that one needs to think about when they are doing their performance transformation in the organization? Or is it a technology? Or is it something that you need to bring in outside consultants and drive in your organization? What are the ingredients to make performance transformation real for any organization?
Gaurav, very nice question, a very interesting area to dwell upon, because in India specifically, everybody's talking of transformation. India, it's a combination of MNCs and family-driven business, right? And if you look at those, MNCs are looking towards India to find transformation ideas. That's what is happening in the MNC space. And in the family driven organizations, India has very big family driven organizations. They are conglomerates which are but family driven. And in family driven organizations, fourth or the fifth generation is a part of it now. So those who are 100 years old family driven organizations, those who have seen the legacy but is also agile currently, is also active currently, those organizations, the third, fourth or fifth generation is a part of it. And those fourth, fifth generation people are looking at transformation. They want transformations to happen. But the concern is that this transformation can only happen when, as you rightly said, it has to happen through a mindset first. Consultants, technology are enabler to it. But it has to happen from the mindset, and it has to be very top down. The top person has to believe in transformation, has to invest in transformation. Investment is important. Transformation will not happen through a magic wand. It needs investment of time, investment of money, investment of involvement, investment of their personal attention towards those transformation, and it has to be top driven. So this is one major ingredient which should come from the top. Their mindset and their involvement and time, money, commitment, investments there. Then comes the enablers of technology and outside consultants if we do not have in-house people. That becomes more of an enabler, and then only your transformation can be consistent and sustainable. Otherwise, it will be like a milestone. We reached a particular transformation milestone and then we again get lost. That whatever is transformed should remain transformed for rest of my journey. So that is
Right.
important. So for me, ingredients are these ones.
You give a lot of importance to the mindset, right? And from my experience, I second that, because if that is not there, nothing can move. Enablement cannot happen if the first initiation doesn't happen, right? So a lot of our listeners are HR community, or even different stakeholders in an organization. And I think one of the things that people really struggle with is how do you get the share of that mindset from your promoters or from your C suite? And what is the framework that one should think and present to their promoters, C suite, for them to really think from that perspective that yes, it is important for me to take that decision, give that power to my people to make that transformation happen. So, any ideas on that?
Yes, yes, it is obviously important because we can not leave the project to the top management and the C suits to think, because C suits will give you a kind of a vision statement, or a glorified statement, or a glorified problem statement. But the responsibility of making that change, or making that statement into a transformational project is obviously lies with people like us. And how I want to do it and how I generally do it is basically finding the value chain mapping, doing a value chain mapping in a transformation project. That what are the various areas where this transformation will add a value, and what that value could be. And if it's a value, it has to be measurable. It could be a financial value, it could be a value in terms of loyalty, it can be value in terms of stickiness of people, it can be value in terms of employer branding, it can be value in terms of direct value of market share increase, or a value in having a better shelf space of a particular product in an FMCG world. So if we can at least estimate and join a value to this program, to a transformation program, the agreeability of that program increases with the management, with the C-suite. That they understand that okay, this is the value that I'm going to achieve. So they know a measurable target. They know this is what is to be gained out of it, and they can easily translate it into a monetary terms, understand the ROI, because as I told you earlier, transformation needs investment. And if I can add that after this investment, this is how the whole thing will change. This is how the value additions will happen. These are the areas. And again, we should all keep in mind it cannot be a one annual program. It has to be a journey for 2 3 years where these transformations, multiple transformational milestones to be achieved, some low hanging transformation to a bigger transformation. So C-suite people would not have that kind of patience, can wait for 5 years to see the complete transformation. We should plan the journey with some small transformative milestones so that they see progress happening. So that kind of builds their trust on the process, that okay, this team who is doing the transformation is actually working towards the right steps. So breaking the transformation into small milestones, and second of all, adding a value to that transformation journey, that which all areas, which all things, a value chain mapping, that which all areas the values will get created post transformation. These two things will generally help the
Yeah,
convincing
that's
part of
very.
a person,
So
right?
I wanna deep down on this one, right? Because I think this is one of the hardest part in the transformation journey, which is how do you identify a measure to that value, right? And I think a lot of organization, a lot of people have struggled with that. So give me some framework or maybe experience of yours where you have been able to, because sometimes it starts as an intangible activity and then it becomes tangible over the period of time when you're able to make that transformation happen, right? So it's very interesting when you say that you have to really define the tangible before, you have to identify the value and measures before, even before you travel that road. So give me some experience, if you have some, or the way you were able to create it so that it becomes little objective for our listeners.
Right, right. So
Sorry, I'm putting you in a
no, no,
spot, but I
yes.
thought it's an
No, no, no. I would also obviously would like to share it through an experience. That's always easy for us also to share an experience. See, I'll tell you. So one of my organization's aim was to increase the rural footprint of of a particular brand, or of the entire range of the products, right? And rural footprint, directly increasing the rural footprint. So we wanted to cover, say, 500 extra villages over a part of next financial year or one financial year. So to do that, there is one part is of the product design, that with what will the right product mix, what would be the product mix, what kind of a product will get sold in village, will we replicate the urban products in village scenario, what kind of a branding, packaging, this part. So that is one part which is a kind of a route to market, or a sales or marketing strategization of that program. But the other part of was a very humanistic, human resource oriented program, where if I were wanting to have that rural footprint in 500 odd villages through, say, 800 odd people, I want those people to be a part of that rural ecosystem. I want them to be based there. If you are trying to increase a footprint, I cannot have a part-time person going to a village and coming back and increasing that footprint. We want somebody to be based in that maybe 20, 30 kilometers of that village. And when I say village, it's like a, say, 5,000 population village. Which it's quite remote. It's mostly last mile in terms of an FMCG parlance. So the HR angle to it is basically that I wanted to, so the program, the value chain that we proposed was that, okay, we would like to have programs around these people. So whomever we are recruiting them, we would like them to be very well connected with the headquarters. We would like them to be well connected with the things happening in their main towns, or thing happening in their major in their head office, where they will get to know about it. So maybe e-magazines for them, bringing them quarterly or half yearly once to the headquarter, or bringing the heroes of that team to the headquarter, going to them on a regular basis to tell them about, to have workshops, to tell them how to do things, create local level of village level entrepreneurs out of them, tell them that how their life is going to transform by being a part of this organization, how their household income can go up, how they can move from a single income household to a double income household, how their wives can also be a part of this program. So this communication and these things needed presence, needed travel, needed technology, needed investment from these people, from the organization, so that HR can actually reach out to these people and reach out with multiple of these causes. So whatever X amount of budget or whatever X amount of expense that is supposed to happen, I translated that into a program that whoever comes in on board with us will stay with us for almost 2 to 3 years, and we can see a value addition from them, from their positive involvement, from their positive, they would be positively engaged with us. And the measurability was that stickiness of these people with the program, stickiness of the increase of the sale of the particular, in that particular village, direct sale in that particular village, and how progressively my business is growing in there. So we translated into very three measurable financial outcome: two of sales, and one was stickiness of the particular entrepreneur or the resource. And we could have easily measured it, that whether my churn is lower, my sale is increasing, and we have seen almost a 75% success through this over a period of 24 months, that these people got onboarded, started understanding the thing, started generating the business, started getting the ROIs, and remained with us. Obviously, there were 15-20% people who dropped out, but most of the people stayed. 75% of the population stayed, and the results started coming out. And the smaller milestones that I'm talking about is that we always used to keep on communicating it to the senior management, to the stakeholders. See, this many people are onboarded. This
Hmm.
is something as a group that they have achieved. This is something this cluster has achieved. This is where things are. So dashboarding, communication, bringing the success stories back from the field to the boardrooms. So these things kept on believing them this program is moving towards the right direction and the transformations are happening, and that's the value addition that they saw. Maybe every month 5 crore additional business or 2 crore additional business, extra business, and from a 2-3 crores additional business to a maybe a 50 crore additional business in 1 year. So that is something which is easily measurable, and that's how
Right.
we measured. So I would definitely say that it's a
No.
combination of many things: efforts of sales, better scheme, discounts, but people was at the center of it. If the people were not there in that village, if that one particular village level entrepreneur was not there in that village, whatever product packaging, pricing, mix we do, there would be no representative of that organization to take it forward. So people was at the center. So HR took center stage of the program and delivered it. So that is one example which how things happen. And this story sticks stays with me, and it's one of the success stories that I speak about.
Yeah, actually, what you said is great because I'll tell you why. Let's go back to the conversation that we were having before, right? For a performance transformation to happen in an organization, business performance, people performance, sales performance, again, are interlinked, right? I mean, for business performance to be of course, sales performance needs to be done. And you rightly said with this example of yours as well that people are at the center of it. So if you're not enabling people or transforming that mindset, nothing of that moves. Great. So
Right.
let's double click on the FMCG world, the world that you're very close to, you understand very well, and there is a big requirement of moving from a traditional way of doing sales to a new technology driven way of doing sales, at least understanding the matrix or understanding the lead indicators from the lag indicators. I think the main difference that I've seen in the FMCG world in the last couple of years that we've been very active in it, that people are moving away from their obsession just on the lag indicator now to lead indicators as well. Why so? That is happening in the sales performance management. Why the obsession moving away from lag indicator to the input of lead indicator? And what is it that the organization can do in order for them to make it real and make it possible as well?
Very true, Gaurav. Very true. This change is happening to my knowledge and to my understanding. One of the major reasons is that now the consumers have become have a lot of choice, and they are a lot of awareness. So you think of a situation 20 years back or a 15 years back, in an FMCG consumer world, if somebody has to buy a soap, they will go and buy, ask for a soap, and they will get a soap from the shopkeeper. Whatever soap they get it, we will carry it back home. We don't used to go and talk about a brand, or we used to say toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, shampoo, like that, detergent powder. We never used to talk about a brand. But of late, last 20 years, what has happened is people have become conscious. They are aware of the brands in those particular categories, and they have started asking for brands now. I don't go, my family or my kids do not go and ask for a soap. They will ask for a particular brand of a soap. They will ask for a wife will might go and ask for a particular type of a detergent powder, particular brand of a detergent powder. So this brand awareness is key to this change from lag to lead. Earlier, why it was lag? Because organizations used to feel, okay, let me put the product on the shop. The shopkeeper will push my product, whichever whatever comes in, based on the kind of margins he's getting. So that was lag. So I would just ensure my products are available in the shop. Rest the shopkeeper will do because he's earning more margin from my things. But now the lead indicators are important because it is not now only the shopkeeper's decision. It is the decision of the consumer who will go and ask for a particular brand, and he will not change his mindset based on the shopkeeper's suggestion. and moving from a general trade portfolio, when we are mostly shopping over Blinkits or the Zeptos or modern trade, there is no shopkeeper also. It is just the display of the product. I go and pick up. It's my choice. So whichever product has a top of my mind recall, I will go and pick up that product. So that has made companies to start thinking of the lead input parameters, because how what are the various inputs that I can do that, so that my products has that top of the mind recall in the consumer's mind. And when I say lead, it is not only from a sales parameter. Even the packaging is a lead parameter in a product. Quality of the product, or the taste of the product is a lag thing maybe, but the packaging of the product is a lead parameter. The offers in the product is a lead parameter. Similarly, for sales, how many shops you are going to, how many varieties of SKUs you are putting in that shop, what are the various shelves that you are taking in, these are the lead parameters. Because the more shelf space I have covered, more top of the value recall will be there. So when you go and see that, okay, most of your shops, most of the shelf of a toothpaste is having a particular brand, as a mind I will think, okay, this is a better brand to pick from. So share of shelf, displays, discounts to the consumers, offers to the consumers. These are becoming more important than just making it availability of the product. So and
No,
when
very
these
well.
things become important, right, right. So when these things become important, again the people comes in between, because lead is an input parameter. Somebody has to do the lead things to gain this lag outcomes. So then again the people comes into the picture, that we have to train people, change the people's mindset from not making availability is not important. Your presence is also important. You have to ensure XYZ things in lead to make the lag happen. So this is a big transformation that has happened over 10-15 years in FMCG world, and there that changes are becoming very evident, and people are trying to track the performance based on this lead parameter. They would like to see what is the performance, what is the efficiency, what are the things people are doing on towards these input things. Output is an outcome of it. Output is a byproduct of it. Wo automatic will happen if the inputs are right. Right. So performance transformations in FMCG is happening around the lead parameters, around the input parameters of the trade currently, and people would like to track and measure those now.
Right. So just a follow up question on that. So the lead indicators are important, extremely, quite clear from your conversation. And are these lead indicators mostly on the product side, the marketing side, the branding side of it, or there are these lead indicators which one has to see for the sales force which is really selling on the ground as well? Are there certain lead indicators that you are measuring for them as well, which is helping you to transform the performance of them?
No, no. This the lead indicators are, every department has their lead lags, but sales definitely has the biggest of the leads, because they are the ones where the inputs are more. So that those inputs for sales are very very important, and sales, because sales is the finally one which is actually deriving the revenue out of the market. So the lead parameters for sales are very important, and tracking of those lead parameters, because sales is not done by one particular person, it is done by a sales force around India. So everybody doing the same thing across India remotely needs very strong enablers, very strong sense of purpose, very strong binding on a organizational level, and translating that, again coming back to my first point, translating those purposes to actions, so that that actions can be given as task to everybody, and everybody does that task, because it is a very remote structure. They are spread across India, and across India, 500 or 1,000 people doing the same thing every day is very very important. And that's how lead parameters in sales is the biggest important, one of the most important thing to be tracked and measured, because there is an element
No,
of
very good, very good.
repeatedly doing the same thing.
Sure. No, thank you. This was a great conversation, Dave. I think our listeners would get a lot of nuggets for them to pick from and take back to their organization and work with it. So, last question: what is it that one needs to be careful when they are going through this path? Like, where can the failure come, and how do you identify those point of failures before, so that the probability of success is higher?
See, one, if you have to mention me about one singular thing in transformation success that has to be ensured and failure should not impact the transformation, is continuous communication. That's the key in any transformation initiative, that communicating the reason of transformation, the vision of transformation, the purpose of transformation, how to do it, why to do it, giving the big picture, communicating the success of those transformations. This communication has to overlap the entire transformation journey. If you do not communicate and think that, okay, let it happen and then I will talk, let it finish, then I will talk, then it will not work. So, for me, one key and the most important element of a transformation journey is keeping on continuous communication channels open.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I was in the morning today, I was sitting with one of our mentors, business mentors, and exactly what he said, that, you can be an over communicator and that won't kill you, but under communication will definitely be a recipe of a failure, right? So you're absolutely correct. Hey, thank you, Dave. Thanks for your time. If any of the listeners wants to reach out to you, what is the best way or medium for them to get in touch?
LinkedIn is a great platform. We can always get in touch with LinkedIn. We can always interact there. I am quite active as a part of it. So let's connect in that platform and then exchange ideas. I have a lot to learn from all our people listening. I have a lot to learn from this kind of conversations also.
Great, absolutely. And any parting thoughts before we let you go?
Uh, I would like to use your organization's name. Just joy of performance is something which I always like, because see, a transformation can be interesting only when people see success in that transformation. If they find a joy in that transformation, small wins are important. Talking about those small wins are important. Quick wins, small wins are important. You have to celebrate small successes also. And so the if you are performing and if you are happy about that performance, if you are joyful about that performance, you would like to positively, you would like to continuously do it, you would like to, because in sales and FMCG the work is repetitive. If you're not seeing daily successes, if you're not seeing quick and small wins, you will not be motivating, you cannot motivate yourself every day and go to that journey, that every day I will go out and do this. You have to see quick wins, and we have to ensure that we set those small targets, small quick wins for them. So, so your name resonates, your organization name resonates very strongly with it, and that's the thought, that we should all be happy and joyous about our performances and celebrate those.
Thank you. Thank you. And it all starts with the mindset, right? I think it takes leaders like yourself to recognize the importance of the journey of a transformation. And of course, we are there to enable. And, we've known to each other, we're working together. So I can absolutely say that it takes two hands to, clap and make that. But thank you, Dave. Thank you so much, and really appreciate it. You have a great day, and we look forward for more such conversations in the future.
Same here. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you very much, and all the best to your journey, and happy weekends.
Thank you.